So we're already deviating from the norm here.
Are you going to describe this why I'm doing things, Neil? Or?
Emerson's using a day-glow chartreuse.
Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Oh, I know. I just do it with a ball of thread, but he's actually building a platform, and the reason for that is it'll become obvious when he starts setting the saddle hackle.
Maybe the same position, please. Thanks.
So I'll leave you in suspense until he starts.
And depending on the size you use, I'll probably use 3 hackles on each side.
I use 3 on the side too. So, but you can use up to, as many as you like. There's no rules. It's Hudson's Bay rules.
And basically, you want them to curve out from the hook each way. So you set them up to curve, and then you
and that's what the ball of chenille does. It sets the hackles out and displays them. So because when you're activating the hook on the retrieve, you want this is not quite. You want the saddle hackles to pulse like that, so they go. So give that extra piece of motion that supposedly drives Spike wild.
Haven't found a need to put bucktail on it to keep them from wrapping around the hook?
No, they don't wrap around the hook. They stay pretty because they're behind the hook. They're not. It's not like a wing.
Yeah, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, I've never tangled them at all.
That'll do.
It's pretty messy looking.
So 3 in each side. With that ball of chenille to hold it up.
But the idea and what really works, with the head, is when you cast them, everything is pretty aerodynamic. But in the water, these things flare out and they pulse. Really great action, and also Neil put the head on them, so not only they pulse, but and it's a really neat looking action. Oh, that's a mess.
Now the choice of body materials is strictly up to you. I sometimes use a holographic tensile. In this case, I guess we're using a
floss.
Silk floss or whatever, nylon floss.
Actually, you guys use these retainers?
Just when I'm sleeping.
Actually, Mark showed me these, and I've got probably 100 of them now, and probably every spool I've got.
I don't, and I've got a great big ball.
Who? Who is that? Yeah, well, I think Mark showed us.
Ball of stuff in my drawer.
What I need to say on the hooks, make sure you get straight-eyed hooks to go with these heads.
Yes, that's true.
That big hook gap, it works equally well for the pike and the walleye, or is it?
Yeah, I'm going to tie this a little different than
He is. He's already
Neil does.
from the norm.
Have you ever used acetate floss to tie those flies?
Yeah, this is floss.
That's what it is, yeah. Or acetate or silk or whatever. It's whatever you. There's no real rules. Now, Emerson's already done something differently because I usually stick a few strands of flashabou or crystal flash between the two.
Between the tails?
Between the two tails, yeah. We usually don't see me doing that, but like I say, there's no.
This works better.
There's no right. There's no right.
No, I had some on top after.
Yeah. But as part of the wing as opposed to...
No, I'm tying this closer style because I do a lot of walleye fishing, and when you get into the and the weeds are down on the bottom. If you drag it with the hook down, you get snagged up a lot. This way it rides like this, and you don't have to worry about the weeds.
And the
On
key,
the pike fishing, what was the leader?
I use, there's a whole bunch of different products you can get. This is one of them here, it's called Toothy Critter. There's also, I think all of the different leader companies put something out, or you can buy an actual, a coated a wire, but this is it's a braided steel wire with a coating on it, and it's better than the straight coated, because you can actually just tie your normal sturgeon's knot to hook it onto your tip. I tie my leader with a. I got a big chunk of that Maxima from the fishing hole, and they got all those big spools of it for. I don't know what they use that stuff for. I guess for shark fishing or something. And I got like a lifetime supply of it for nothing. Like 30 meters or something, not even that. And I use about whatever that is. That's 2 feet of this headage to get the fly to turn over. And then I use an Audex intermediate piece in the middle, because I'm figuring if you get like a 60-pound or 80 or 100-pound, whatever that stuff is, piece of leader, you're going to have to break it off every once in a while, right? You're going to hook a stump or something. So I like to have something I can actually break rather than breaking my rod. So, and then I stick another, whatever that is, 14 or so inches of that Toothy Critter, or whatever they call it. Yeah, they call this one Toothy Critter. But it's like this, everyone's got a product. It's all pretty well the same, and it gets all kind of twisted and gnarled after a few fish. But all you do is just, if you make it long enough, that you can just sort of keep cutting it back until you can still protect your leader with only 6 inches of.
And use lots of glue, because the polar bear is very slippery.
Sorry,
Pulls up. Yeah, you're.
all right. So you're like Emerson has to go and change it all, and so he puts it upside down. But yeah, I think I'm going to start tying mine that way too, because that makes sense. So it doesn't look classic or anything, but I guess it doesn't work.
No, it does not, but it works. Well, it solves the problem that's getting snagged. Actually, I do a lot of fishing off the dock at Baptiste, and in May through June, you can sometimes get them in the reeds in 3 feet of water up to 6 feet of water. But as it gets a little later in the year, the weeds start, becoming an issue. And Peter did that up at Baptiste too. You did some fly fishing off the dock. Actually, I couldn't get them off the dock.
Well, and there's lots of schools of thought with regard to flashabou or some of that sparkle stuff. I like to I'm kind of a minimalist. I mean, when you see it in the water, and even like 2 or 3 strands, and it looks really flashy and gaudy, you think, well, that sort of doesn't look like. But I mean, it's how you like it. I mean, some guys will load it up with the whole wing will be just about flash. And then the last touch, I don't know. I think this is just a vanity, this thing, but it's kind of neat just to see it anyway.
One thing to do quite often too is just push your head on and make sure you got enough room for it, because it's very easy to build up too much.
Yeah. Is 4 to 6 strands of peacock herl to give.
I'm using 3.
Give it a back. Yeah, 4 is better.
You think 4 is better?
No, it's 3 and a half.
Looks a little unbalanced, Emerson. I think you better have another.
When you put the spray on, it's going to tilt the one side now.
Well, actually, I bought this for a reason, and I want to play with the sturgeon, and I don't think there's any reason why you couldn't soak a fly like this in crawfish, because they feed on crayfish, and anchor in the current with a deep 7 line I've got. I think it's doable.
Well, there's crayfish in Spring Lake. I think that's
Are
what
there?
they're probably using this fish bowl.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
So you think it's doable?
Well, it's tryable.
Yeah, okay, that's maybe a better word.
So a steer can do it.
You still see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
I like Neil's idea of the color selection, going for the red and whites, and I think
Well, I mean, they're effective colors, and they seem to, in other formats, they seem to work, so there's no reason why they shouldn't work in a fly, I suppose.
And for the head, I usually I glue it on. Oh, sorry about that. I just put,
What is that, a super glue? I just use a...
that's a super glue gel.
Okay.
You can see it, it'll actually stay on the hook, and I put it generously around.
Now explain to the head, because this is the key.
I don't know if you can see that or not. These things are weighted.
They're like a keel.
If you use them this way, your hook will ride down, you throw them this way, and the weight will use them closer style.
Isn't one edge is thicker?
Yeah, you can see one edge is, that's thinner, that's thicker, so the weight's down there, so it'll actually. So it ends up just, riding like a Clouser minnow. And then what I'll do is I'll just fill up the gap with,
Oh, you didn't put any, you missed something.
what did I miss? Oh, I sure did.
Yeah.
Probably, okay. Thank you.
I don't know if this is you really need this or not, but it's...
I think it helps.
It helps, okay. No, I
That doesn't help.
use some crystal flash for mine, and that's to give it a effective gills, and a little bit of red motion just around the head there to give it a... Which is part of the original tie, so I guess we have to stay faithful to Lefty.
By using this fly in my deep 7 line, I can easily fish 20 feet down. Yeah, I gotta be
Get a very
careful.
short retrieve, though, Emerson, if you have 20 feet of water, but it's...
Well, it is a short retrieve, and it's also what I don't like. I'm going to try a lighter line this year. With the deep 7 and deep water, if you let it settle, your line is straight down like this, you've got almost a 90-degree hinge, and I think you miss a lot of takes.
Especially in a walleye, because they can be very subtle, almost as subtle as a sturgeon. Well, those Rockies are pretty...
Glue everywhere
soft,
now.
Yeah.
I leave this fairly long now, and I'll show you in a minute why. I leave the gills most of the length of the hook.
Yeah, it's always one who's got to misbehave.
You might have to come and pull my fingers apart pretty soon.
Tracy glued his fingers to the fly.
Same pattern.
That could be coming.
Oh, got away with it. Throw a couple of half hitches on it.
Of course, the first one is never the best one, is it? It's usually the one you kind of, till you get sort of grooved on a pattern, then by the time you're into the sixth one, you're usually pretty good.
You're making excuses for me?
No, I'm just saying, just being me. I just say it's...
Oh, you just put a drop in your eye.
Well, it's...
Where did they?
It's on that thing.
Should be filming this. Where's your camera?
Yeah. Okay, I did get it on. But the reason I left those long is quite often when you push the head on, you distort them. If they're long, you can pull them straight and keep them in position as you trim them. There we go. And that's it.
Do you do a stopper?
Yeah, I usually do a stopper. I won't.
You don't do it...
Just a couple of wraps in front of the
Yeah,
hook.
just to... I don't know if that's necessary, or maybe it's just a decorative, who knows.